Hello and welcome to another episode of The Parenting Business, the podcast for parents who are business owners, managers, and just have a little bit of a kind of slightly unique lifestyle when compared to a few others. Don't forget, during this episode, you can follow us on Spotify or wherever you listen. Do also feel free to get in touch with your stories or top tips about how you balance your parenting business. You can either leave us a comment or drop us an email at podcast@parentingbusiness.com. Also, if you do happen to like what you hear, please remember to share the podcast with other parents and business owners, and click and give us a thumbs up or a 5-star review just to help us spread the support. And with that, let's get on with this week's show. Hello, Ben.
Hello, listeners.
How are you? How is your week this week?
Oh, we're good. We're good. I'm excited about tonight because people who work for themselves and have been through the mill should be able to relate to tonight's guest episode, especially with when children have been involved. And I'm in absolute awe of people like yourself and Chris, our guest, who just find the inner strength to keep battling and keep battling and keep battling, no matter what.
Yeah.
Sort your kids. So I'm in awe of it. So this is an episode which sums up what we're trying to do to a large extent.
Yeah.
So I hope it goes down well with the viewers. I'm sure it will.
Oh, I'm sure it will. And before we get on with that, then, let's start with highs and lows. Usual.
Okay. I'm going to start with the low because that's an easy one.
Okay.
So I've had some contractor issue with one of my rental houses, and
we still got these issues.
I'm nearly there.
Okay.
Don't play your fucking jingle. It's getting boring. Anyway, previous contractor fucked off, and there's a bit of an argument there, back and forth. Are we going to take each other to court or not? Probably not. Just let it all die a death. But let's see what he says there. New guys are well on with it. It's coming along. The remainder of remedials to sort out the damage that was done from the previous guy, all booked in and sorted. And then just this morning gets a nice letter from the selective licensing department of the council, who are coming to do an inspection of the premises. So that's going to be fun. I did speak to the letting agent and says, well, there's not too much to worry about really. What they're going to do, they're going to come and have a nosy around. They're going to find a few things, give you a list of things you've got to sort, charge you 350 quid for the privilege, and then in due course, next couple of months, you've got to prove you've had it sorted. So kiss goodbye 350 quid and sort whatever's on their list. They always find something. It's never anything major. The letting agent in question have been doing inspections. They're meant to do it quarterly. They kind of do it every 6 months, but it's not that long ago they had an inspection. There wasn't a huge amount found. And fair cop, this particular house that we own has had scaffolding on for 5 months. If the council are going to be concerned about a particular landlord, we're kind of in the firing line, aren't I? So fair cop, take it on the chin. But there is an element of anticipation, is the wrong word, nervousness, because although we've done our best, it hasn't gone to plan. And fuck's sake, what's he going to find? No one likes an inspection, do they? Whether it's on a premises, your MOT, your prostate, whatever it might be. It's always a nervy time. So yeah, week after next, I've got that to look forward to.
Hey, it's when the doctor's giving you a prostate exam and says, "Look, no hands."
Well, what's the name of your doctor? I'm going there next time.
It's even worse when you thought it was a female doctor.
Hey, in this modern age, we don't judge. So I was about to move on to my high, but I think that little joke might have done it. That was a strong start to the episode.
I've just got a quick question about this, because I've never owned rental properties.
No, don't.
So these council council inspections. Are they a scheduled thing that they do kind of yearly or something? Or is it
complete?
Is it potentially, is it like HMRC stuff where they say, oh yes, we're doing a random spot check? You're not doing a bloody random spot check.
Random.
Someone phoned up and said...
Either somebody has made a complaint, possibly the tenant if he has. But if he was going to do that, he probably would have done it a couple of months ago. But somebody's made a complaint. And why would our tenant make a complaint when he knows everything is booked in to be sorted? So although it's been disappointing, we've let him down. That's why you're on half price rent, mate. It is nearly there. So it doesn't make sense for him to have made a complaint. But even if he had, it's kind of fair cop, right? We've made some plans. It's gone to shit. It hasn't gone to plan. And there we are.
Could it be your roofer that you've just ejected off the job?
Yeah, basically. Potentially. Equally, somebody could have drove past several times and gone, that's taken a while.
Yeah, but how do they necessarily know that it's a rental property?
We're on the register. It's a complete con and a stealth tax, this element. Now, there are bad landlords out there and they need rooting out, finding out, holding to account. But we have to spend £1,200 per property just to have the licence.
Right.
It's like we have to spend £170 a year to watch telly.
Yeah.
We have to spend £1,200 just to be granted the licence. I mean, for fuck's sake. Granted, when you come and find something, then give me a fine if I've done wrong. That's deserved. To own a property, you have to spend £1,200 to have it licensed, to have me checked, to have everything checked. And then, why don't you just find people?
And they wonder why rental properties are so expensive to rent.
Got it.
As someone that wants to rent a property,
we have to jump through quite a few hoops. So next thing, the value of monthly rentals goes up because I've done this to make a return every year, and I've done this to set my plan for my rental properties is when I retire. Let's say I need an old folks home or nursing or whatever. Those mortgages are paid off, and my nurse is paid for.
Dude, you need an old folks home now, not when you retire.
I've got the hairline for it, haven't I? I've got the temperament as well at times.
I was going to say, I was thinking more the Victor Meldrew temperament.
Yeah, I do. I have been likened to a Victor Meldrew rant from time to time.
I remember from, I think, episode 1, we talked about your Victor Meldrew and Carl Pilkington tendencies.
But that's really my only negative. I mean, markets are down. It's a bit of a kick in the arse that we have to withdraw from our share account a little bit to pay for some of these bloody contractors at a time when it's down. But equally, apart from that, it's been a good week. Factory's churning quite well. We have plenty of job adverts up, but not many applicants.
Yeah.
Maybe that'll come in the next week or two. We are shit busy. We've sold very well. So there's probably my high. Just I don't have too much to worry about in the factory setting.
I was going to say...
Because the team are pretty good. The order book's pretty good.
Yeah.
I can worry about something else. Go on.
Sadly for them, but maybe not for you. Obviously, we both know of a local firm that went into administration a couple of days ago. So there's going to be 200 odd people looking for...
3+. But
so I think it's 200 local and there's 300 for their other factory in North Wales.
Okay, that might be right. That might, more than I do. The element at the minute, the administrators have taken control and are trying to come up with a sale in the next 8 weeks. So there aren't production staff now. If staff want to leave now, they miss out on their redundancy package, so they'd be stupid to do so. So we're not going to find staff there really for some time. However, who knows what the future holds, and end of the day, there's some credible staff there. There's some customers there. I've already I've reached out to one of the sales staff who do an area which I've sort of gone, not sure it's for me, but a conversation wouldn't hurt.
Yeah.
So there's a few opportunities ticking around the back of my mind, so it keeps me brain in focus, which is handy. I've not always had that of late. But nope, I'll take order book for the factory as my high, and the notice that we're getting an inspection in about 10 days' time as my low. And I think it's your turn because I've waffled. I've waffled again.
Okay, I will start with my low. So my low is that by the time this episode airs, because obviously we record episodes a bit early, I will have started the process of closing one of my companies, sadly, due to issues with the other shareholder. There was kind of no other option. Again, I've kind of mentioned it briefly in the past that there's been issues with the other shareholder in the company. I certainly won't be having a company with other shareholders, or certainly not 50-50 shareholders moving forwards. But that's a real big low. You and I have both been through kind of closing companies before, and it kind of takes it out of you. It's really not fun, and it's not what I wanted to do. I hate it. Absolutely hate it.
But equally, I've embarked on ideas with partners, and sometimes once you get into this thing in months or years or whatever, you kind of realise actually that might not be what I want. You might not be the best partner for me.
Yeah,
we both possibly want different things. It's not my fault. It's not your fault. It's mine, darling. We've all.
I think the thing that was frustrating for me is I tried to give lots of options for this other shareholder to bow out, but they decided for whatever reason that they didn't want to, and that's up to them, and kind of left with no other option.
Yeah,
but it is what it is. We've been through it before. We pick up, we move on. A month or two, it'll all be done, dusted, and yesterday's fish and chip paper.
Yes, this chip paper. Life goes on. You learn some lessons, and on to the next chapter.
That's it. So that's been a particular low this week. High though, I've kind of got two.
Go on.
So we've got. I picked my daughter up from school, and I made a slight cock up. So we're coming up to Easter.
Sound like you. Go on.
I know. I read that there was an Easter thing after school at her school.
Yeah.
What I'd missed was that there was an Easter bonnet parade just before the end of the day, which she was part of. Which she wasn't bothered, and thankfully one of the other parents did a really nice thing and sent me some photos of her during the parade.
That's cool.
Which was very nice. So super pleased with that. And then we went to the after-school Easter egg hunt and cake sale, organised by the good old PTA, and really lovely. Really lovely. We had a great time just running around the school trying to find these Easter eggs, kind of orienteering marker things. And then she got a little prize. She entered a couple of the competitions. We bought a couple of cakes and had a lovely time. Then it was followed up. So that was yesterday. And then today I took her to school this morning, and I actually took a day off. Like a proper day off just for me.
Feet up Friday.
So kind of that sort of thing. After I dropped her at school, I had to run a couple of little errands. But I went to the gym, did nearly a couple of hours in the gym, then went into the spa from the gym. Then I'd booked a massage already, because I'm very fortunate. As my gym membership, I get a massage every month. So I booked a massage, had a fantastic massage, then had a little bit longer in the spa, then left, did a little bit of shopping, went and got a haircut, and then came home and just had a kind of self-pamper day.
Okay.
Where I just took that time to recharge a bit today. So that was nice, and I don't think we do it enough.
No.
And I don't do it all the time, but I thought, actually, I think I'm going to start to try and schedule that maybe once a month. Obviously, I'm fortunate because as a factory, our guys don't usually work on a Friday. I often do work on a Friday.
Are they meant to work on a Friday and they just don't bother, or do you actually? No, they don't come in on a Friday.
My staff aren't like your staff. My staff actually turn up for work. So no, we work a compressed hours week.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
So my guys do long shifts Monday to Thursday to have a 3-day weekend.
Okay,
and it works. It works really, really well. Now that doesn't mean I don't answer phones and things usually on a Friday. if I need to, with the modern age of VoIP phone systems and this, that, and the other, I can either be in the office on a Friday or I can just be home office. But today I just thought, you know what? I'm not going to. Emails can wait until Monday. I know that there was nothing urgent on, and I did make a couple of work calls, just that I thought, oh, well, I'll check in with those. But I think I'm going to try and do that maybe once a month and just have a Friday to me, just to recharge, because it made the world a difference, and I felt fucking awesome after it.
Good for you.
So yes, that is my
Your win.
high, or two highs for the week. My win.
Very good. Yeah, I did a bit of shopping on the way home, and I tried out tonight's dad joke on the cashier, but it didn't register.
Oh dear, that is.
Anyway, here's tonight's guest.
Right. No. Before we have tonight's guest, we need to do the big question.
Why is water at the side of the swimming pool slippy? When you're in the water in the swimming pool, it's not slippy, is it? So why is it slippy around the side?
Yeah, but is it not slippy?
Of course it's not slippy. You're in it. You're submerged. It's not
but you're
slippy when you're in
through it.
Semantics.
Otherwise, you'd be sticking to it, and you wouldn't. That'd be like swimming in treacle.
It's not a bad shout, is it?
See, walking on if it was treacle on the side of the swimming pool, it'd be sticky. There you go.
Okay, I'll try that one. We've got swimming lessons coming up at the weekend, so we'll try that one. Okay.
And it's because you could do a little experiment with the girls on this one.
Go on.
Get a little bit of treacle or honey, and get them to pour it from one thing to another thing, and look at how slowly it pours because it's thick. Now take some water. Look at how slowly it pours because it's thin.
Speaking of thick,
because it's thick, the thinner it is, the slippier it is.
Speaking of thick, are you going to come round and do the cleaning up afterwards? Can you imagine the bloody mess if I said, here's a load of treacle, fuck about for a bit?
I wasn't.
I mean,
I'm talking supervised.
No, I'll give you that. You potentially, when you're trying to swim, you slip through the water, so water's slippy all the time. Yeah, not just when it's on the side.
But because water's very thin,
and it slips when you drink it. Slips down your throat.
It slips down your throat.
Okay, all right. I'll report back next week.
Something that's thick, like treacle, is sticky.
We'll report back next week.
Yeah, there you go.
That's what we always say. So there's for once we've answered the big question, and we don't need the listeners to do anything.
Well, they might have another. We don't need. Hey, we've said before we don't do this for the listeners.
Well, that's true. That's completely true.
That's certainly pretty obvious in most of the recordings. Yeah. Actually, why would the listeners listen? But
why would the listeners listen? Yeah, largely unplanned. It's waffling drivel. I don't know.
Yeah,
why people do.
I think now we've got to that waffling drivel. Let's get on with this week's guest. Now,
another waffling drivel.
There is a caveat with this, and I'll make the listeners very aware of it. As we alluded to on last week's episode, this chat went on for quite a long time. All positive in terms of content, in terms of it being really, really open, but it was a much longer chat than we usually have with a guest, because it was so in depth and so open, and Chris was really, really open about a lot of stuff. So we've actually done something we've not done before.
Oh Christ! And back to the prostate exam, are you? Live on tonight's show, our guest appearance. Look, no hands.
We've actually we collectively after a really, really good suggestion from your amazing wife. I'll suck up to her even if you don't.
Yeah, no, she does good decisions. Married me, didn't she?
We've actually split this chat with Chris over 2 episodes. So we've got the first part today. And then the part 2 will be in a week's time.
So
because it was really important that we gave the opportunity to share the whole thing.
People who like listening to us for raw emotion should love this, and they're also getting a double whammy.
They are.
And we get next week off, so everyone's a winner.
Yeah, that's true.
Enjoy.
So let's get on, and we will have a chat with Chris.
So with no further ado, here he is. The man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Chris Morris. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Thank you for coming on.
Thanks for inviting me.
It was a pleasure. It was a pleasure. You've had such nice things to say about listening to our waffle this last month or so. It was inevitable. We're very grateful to you putting up with us. And if I may, the reason we came on is you listened to another guest appearance from a few weeks ago and had some similarities. And a big part of the logic is this is a subject which doesn't get spoken about very much. So let's speak about it in due course. Take us back to beginning, because I'm intrigued. Where did it all start for you?
Well, Terry Towns, actually. It would have been Terry Towns in my day. So I think I'm actually a bit older than you. I'm 49 this year.
So much older, yeah.
Yeah.
You're not much older than me. I'm 46, so you've not got much on me, Chris.
So for starters, the pleasure's mine to be in the podcast. I mean, I listen to quite a few podcasts, and you are in my top 3 podcasts.
Yes,
mostly because I know you, and mostly because it's the local area of Nottingham. It's very interesting to hear your guests come on who have the local businesses, and maybe I never call into their shops or their businesses, but at some point, like, I don't know, I'm a local kind of guy. I like that. So the other thing is as well, you're number 3 out of my 3 top podcasts. You're number 3. No, you can't feel bad about it.
Who's beaters? Come on.
Yeah, go
So
on.
Who's the competition?
Number 2 is Ralph Little and Will Meller.
Okay.
They do a good podcast.
I've seen them live as well. They're really good, but their podcasts, I think within the first 3 months they was hitting 1 million viewers.
Wow.
And then after that, like, you're playing 8 venues a year, like, on stage. And then number 1 is the Ricky Gervais, Stephen Merchant and Carl Pilkin podcast. I think they're hilarious. Yeah. Unfortunately, they don't do enough of them, but they are that funny that I've listened to them 3-4 times over.
Okay.
So yeah, you can be.
It's not bad company, is it? Not bad company.
Yeah.
With the round-headed little twonk from the Ricky Gervais shirt.
I love you two guys because you've got this schedule of being all about parenting and business owning, but you just ramble, like, you drift on into talking about Stuart's arse on a fortnightly basis.
How is your arse this week?
We never mentioned it last week, so
I'll be honest.
Did we miss it last week? Is the cream working? Is that why we missed it?
My arse is not too bad.
Is it? So we should probably put this into context for people who've never listened to this before. You had with a colleague of yours from a dogging accident, is that right? And it's a bit of a sore arse from
I did have a historical dogging accident.
A historical dogging accident. So
this is those random lay-bys in Nottingham you spoke of before, yeah?
That might be it.
Yeah, no, this wasn't in a lay-by. This was in a woodland.
Well, some people go to woodlands, don't they?
Yeah.
Didn't they catch the Yorkshire Ripper in the woodlands doing something like that? Is that what you get up to in the woodlands? You can never trust the dog walkers, Chris. They always find the bodies.
Hold on. This isn't my interview. This is Chris's guest appearance.
Oh, did I go off track there?
This podcast, because he just goes onto a tangent.
So
moving swiftly on, we might have to live in suspense for a week on the how Stuart's arse is feeling. Go on.
So I'm going to take charge now. Chris, then go on. Tell us about your kind of work background in terms of what's led you to this point here.
Sure. So through college, I had some various jobs just to get through college. And then after college, I always thought that I wanted to be a boss, my own boss. I wanted to be self-employed. I didn't want to answer to anyone. I had that independent streak from an early age. So my first job after leaving college time was a milkman. It was the easiest opportunity to buy a franchise round. I think at the time it was around about £3,500, but it literally put your business on your milk float like that day, like, you know. It's a good job as well. Probably my favourite job that I ever had. If I could do that now, I'd still be doing that. You know, like the merge with the supermarkets, the milkman, it died off, like, you know. Used to do what I can, like, but there's only so many spots you can fit on the back of your milk float, like, you know.
So
I remember the days of electric milk floats pootling around
I
the
loved it.
street.
Mine was a 1961 Unigate, and it was fiberglass on the front, but you know, I had more accidents in a milk float than I had in a car.
Have you really?
Straight up, the first week I had it, the first thing I thought to myself was, how fast does it go downhill? Because it only went 4 or 5 miles an hour. So going downhill, getting up momentum, the thing's made of cast iron on the back, like, that's solid. You know, get a fair hill. The only problem was, at the time, I didn't realise the mechanics of a milk float, and it literally is, your foot brake is a rubber block on the wheel. That's your foot brake.
Okay.
So your whole weight pulling down on the steering wheel isn't enough to stop a 3-ton milk float at that speed. I careered straight through, honestly, a bus stop. It's like one of 3 terrible accidents. I actually tore the side of the mayor's car out on an icy road, going down an icy road in a milk float. You know, like you know, like where the car cuts the lines for the wheels.
Yeah.
The milk float's wheels in the middle. So going downhill, we just bouncing left, right, so much momentum, and at some point it just tries to spin. It hit the mayor's stretch. I think it was a stretch Granada with the flags on. But yeah, tore out the complete side of his car. So in a car, I don't remember having an accident in a car. It was my fault.
So you got your milk float round, destroyed half of the area that you were in, and then went on to what?
So that was a great job, but you know, like, the situation was when it all got taken over, MD and Dairy Quest was doing aggressive buyouts, and they actually offered me a lot more than what my milk brand was worth, just to take the demand of what was going on in the area. So that was an easy option for me, just to sell that out, and then I moved on to an accessory company for components. A very good company. Give me a lot of education. He put me through a warehouse management course. He put me through health and safety. He pretty much molded me for what I needed to know for life skills in my working career. I worked there for about 4 years, I think. And then I left and started a company with a partnership with someone that I knew. And that was TTT Suppliers. That was supplying accessories and components for the industry, many industries. TTT actually standing for Tent Tarpaulin and Trailer Suppliers.
Okay.
So that was a big part of my life. That was before I had kids. So probably I'd put 4 or 5 years into that before I had kids. And, you know, it was a very good company. You know, it was one of those companies, you go to the accountants every year to have your meetings, and he always pats you on the back and says how well you're doing, carry on, you're doing nothing wrong. And then after 3 years, you're thinking, if I'm doing so well, why am I not doing so well? Where's my money, you know? You know, you get that point from 3 to 5 years where you have to choose which way. And, you know, that progression is natural. You know how it works in business. You need, like, a natural progression of around about 25%, you can withstand that in your business. But when you're forcing like 100%, 140%, sometimes, you know, because you're small as well, sometimes they're months you're hitting 200, 300% extra, like, you know, and you can't, you know, you need very good suppliers to an extent to give you the benefits of a bit of credit here and there. Maybe you've 2 or 3 suppliers where you can play the game, juggle. But at some point, you know, you get to that point where more staff, more vehicles, turning over more big, but, you know, turnover isn't in my pocket. Like,
that's it. I mean, turnover in your accountant will pat you on the back for doing a good profit, but cash is completely different ballgame.
And I remember even having staff, but, you know, when my daughter was born, I remember coming home. I took a paternity leave, which was quite long. It was around about 5 weeks, and then I remember going back to work, doing a full day's work, going to pick my daughter up from my mum's, because me and my partner had gone back to work. I remember I'd do the feeds, I'd do the nighttime thing, the baby would go down. I'd wait until 11, half 11, because I knew that was almost certainly another feed. But then mum would be in bed. I'd do the feed at half 11, and I'd be back at work at like 12:15, half 12. I'd put in literally another full 6 or 7 hours before anyone even woke up and thought, well, I've got to go to work. It's just to make that difference. Like, so, like the energy that you put in as a boss, a director. And then the other thing that was a real bind on me was always the being responsible for people having their wages at the end of the week. Because a growing business, a small business is still a risky business, turnover and orders is all very well and good, but if you lock yourself up with suppliers and, at some point, always the wages have to be paid, always the rent have to be paid, so it's that juggling, At some point, I think we went into it with 10,000. I think we released another 20,000 each into our mortgages. And then it was always a conversation, like every year or two, like it just needs another 20, it just needs another 40, it just needs another 60. But, it come to a head for me around about 2009. That was a terrible year for me. I chalked that one off of the calendar, if I'm to be honest. My dad had passed away that year. And then literally 2 or 3 months later, we had a lot of stresses going on in our life. I'd split up with my partner due to what was going on. Didn't really understand what was going on at that point. She moved back down to where her family was on the south coast, which put 2 hours between us. And then that was a very messy breakup. Because of the breakup, there was no way for me to consider business, to consider houses, mortgages. Everything was just about me seeing my children. I don't know what situations you've ever been in, but when someone takes your child from you, even the first 2 days, you cannot believe that you can't see your child, 2 children at that point. So my son had just been born by 3 months when we split up.
Yeah.
So it was a brutal thing. I come home at 11 o'clock and there was a note there and I didn't even know where she was. I spent probably 3-4 days just traveling, finding out where she was, found out where she was because she was with some family, got in trouble. She called the police. She didn't want me there. But, I heard before on this program, you made some comments about the mums and, how they think they have that right. And they do have that right. My kid's mum loves her kids very much. And she also worked in the housing sector. She knows how the system works.
Yeah.
So at that point, if we split up, I was unstable. I'd been in a bad way because of my father dying. And then also we've split up. So at some point, I feel like I've got more right even than she has to be a sole parent. At that point, I'm ready to give up my working career or my business to become a sole parent, So my argument was, no, you don't have the right to bring my children to the other side of the country and do this. If I'm to be honest, at that time, if I'd have had access to my children, I'd have probably done the same. I would have probably locked the door, changed the locks, and made her go through a legal process that she made me go through. The way the system is set up, it have to be done like that. If you love your children and you think that that's the right thing for your children, it's brutal and it's terrible. And I didn't see my children for nigh on the 7 or 8 months before we got into a contact centre. So for me, that whole time was like, I don't even have much memory of that time. It's probably the worst time of my life. I don't think I've cried since that day. Since that whole time, I was probably crying every single day for that whole 7 or 8 months.
Yeah.
So when I consider how bad that was in my life, that was probably the worst time of my life. 2 very close times to being the best time of my life and my children being born, which absolutely was the most fabulous time of my life. But then going to a point where you don't see your children for so long, there's no help for that. no one can help you. Like, even someone who knows, because they've been there or they had the same situation, maybe they had it longer, like, they cannot console you for what you're going through at that time. You just have to be a strong person to bring yourself through that. You know, not do something crazy, not be self-destructive, and have a focus that it's all about when you do see your kids, like, you know. At that whole time, going back to the business part, we was doing a buyout with a foreign company. They wanted to establish a UK position, and we was their UK distributor. So for them, it was like, let's take this company, let's be a part of it. And I had a business partner who had 25 years on me. So she had one agenda, which was to finish and to get what she wanted, which was maximum payout. And then I had my agenda, which was to seek another 20 or 30 years worth of employment, like, you know. So there was a really long, difficult conversation between me and my business partner that just couldn't get solved. Remember, she actually fell out with the company at one point because she started being a little bit unreasonable. So that got really messy. And then when I started going through the breakup, for me, that was easy to just discard and throw away. So, you know, like business, I remember at that same time, kid's mum was, she was trying to charge me rent for the house that I was living in, which was a family house. So she could have an income from that, and then trying to also discuss with me a maintenance situation whilst I'm paying lawyers. Like, I remember giving a lawyer £1,000 to go on account. She phoned me 4 days later to say I'd spent it.
Don't last long.
How'd you do that in 4 days? You know, she gave me a schedule, and then I'm giving her another £1,000. Like, so when you're going through that thick and fast, I mean, I remember going through it thinking the lawyer was the way to go, like the solicitor was the way to go, the barristers are the way to go. And how I did it was probably the most expensive way to do it. I think it cost me around about, with solicitors and barristers only, around about 33 to 35. On top of that would have been additional money that I would have had to spend to attend courts or whatever on the other side of the country. So for me, all the time that I'm dealing with solicitors and having to, no doubt about it, the money has to go on account, because there's no way that I can be delayed and being told that, you know, I can't go to court this month because I didn't put the money on the account, and that means can't see my kids for another 3 months for another application. So the money was always found. But absolutely not was I paying my mortgage. Absolutely not was I paying a rent for the property I was supposed to be living in, or, you know, even when it comes to trying to make a settlement to make I wasn't interested. We actually had, our family house was actually repossessed at that time, and my priority was to see my children. You got to remember, like 3 months, 6 months into not seeing my children, 9 months into not seeing, 7 months, 8 months not seeing my children. I don't care about anything else, like, huh? So at some point, that was the turn for me when I got out of being self-employed and being a director of a company, and I would never go back. I mean, if I was to go back to that way of life, it would be to be a milkman in a nice little village somewhere where I didn't need to worry about the money. But to go back to being a director, I mean, I listen to you guys week in and week out, the troubles you have, staff, buildings, orders, low books. I don't know, it is. And the stress and the worry for me, and where I started to really worry and started to really lose weight quick was when we had staff. I just had this weight over me the whole time. Like, is that money going to be in the bank at the end of the month for the staff? You know, they're working a month in advance for me. I got to have their money there. And I hated that. I really hated that. I guarantee they got their money every time, but I didn't.
Yeah, a lot of people are in the same situation.
You know what you guys do? I mean, I get it. I get it. You know, most of my customers are in the position that I was in and that you're in. And, you know, a lot of people are there because it was a family business left to them by their family, and they have that streak in them where they can't just close the business after 2 or 3 generations, like, you know. So, you know, look, many people are in business for many reasons, but you got the motivation for it. I mean, I don't have that motivation. I know that I've been there, I've done that, and I wouldn't go back there again.
No, it's a fair one. I mean, it all went to pot after the 2008 crash then for you.
We was doing brilliant. It wasn't that it went to pot. I mean, the company was doing well. We had a price on the table, but it was two directors that wanted two different things in the company. We had to have discussions. Then it went back to the company that was buying us. Then it come back to us. I mean, the way that it ended, we didn't actually owe anyone any money when we went insolvent. The only person we owed money to was the company that was going to buy us. I mean, I'm a salesman. I walked straight into that company when the company went insolvent. We had a meeting. I remember when it was. It was a World Cup, 2010, because it was the final on a Sunday, and we met in a hotel in Brentwood. Me and this foreign guy. He was just concentrating on, have I lost my money? Have we lost money? Are you going to pay us our money? And I come out of that meeting. I just made him a deal. I said, look, this is the situation. You need to take a warehouse. You need to set up your own situation and take me, and then I'll find you a customer base very quickly. And we negotiated an entry-level wage because they wasn't sure they was going to even employ me at that point.
Yeah.
And then within 6 months, we was very secure. I remember them sending me one roll of material saying, do you know what that is? No, but more my customers use it, I could sell it. I think by their 3 months, I think we was ordering containers direct from China. So yeah, we was that was a very rewarding job, like working for that company there, building up with a bigger purse basically. And you realise your place. Everyone have a place in life, So my place isn't to be the director of a company. And in that situation, it wasn't a position to be anyone's boss either. But it was pretty much everything else, which was good for me, I can apply the same level of dedication working for someone that I can working for myself. Makes me very employable, very interesting, and I'm very productive, So, I'm not the kind of person to slack off or take an easy day. I'll always try and finish my day. It's always full, so I'll always try and finish it. So I'm happy the next day to start. When you work for people under that regime, you stay employable, and sometimes people become flexible around you as well. Because I'm probably not the most easiest employee to have, but I don't argue. I'm easygoing. I'm very open-minded. Maybe I have some techniques that's not the same as other people's, but no one ever complains about that side of me. I've never had an official warning from everyone. So
okay, well, there's something.
You're doing all right then. Just going back to that time, it sounds like you had, as you said, a lot going off with personal life and the company at the same time. And you say no, people can't console you because they've not been in your situation. I agree absolutely with that. Having been through what sounds like something very similar to you in terms of personal relationships and company and lots of things happening at the same time, I came home to an empty house, to a not knowing where my daughter and my wife at the time.
How long was the time? How long was the time before you saw your daughter again?
That's similar to you.
Really?
Yeah. I was fortunate. Well, I say fortunate or unfortunate. There was an initial, I got to see my daughter for an hour a few days later, but after that, contact was stopped fully. And through the court process, there was no contact. I got video calls. However, they were video calls with a child under 2. So a child under 2 can't sustain a conversation on a video call. That was, yeah.
I mean, you really relate to this. I mean, the allegations that I had she was actually very calculated. She never made no allegations where the kids are going to look at me at any point later in date and think, did that happen? Like she was very calculated to make the right allegations where they didn't discredit or discourage the kids from having any feelings about me. She's a sensible person, but she had to work the process. She kept me away for around 7 months before we got ordered into a contact centre. The criminal part of it is the solicitors and the barristers, because you think that those guys are your friends. The judges, those guys are not your friends. Like the solicitors and barristers earn a lot of money. I think my barrister was, because we did that thing where we picked the best barrister in the chain, because you know how it worked. The solicitors want to be barristers want to be solicitors.
Yeah.
So at some point, like the barristers who don't lose cases. It's always And, like they're working with a barrister that comes out the same chambers. So they're discussing
Yes.
and colluding in the room behind your back before they've even come in to see you. But before they've come to see you, they already know what they want you to do, because depending on which barrister is serving which case, that barrister needs to win, because he's already set up to be a judge at some point. So I actually played the game, and there was a very expensive barrister who had something like 85 wins, no losses. So we just picked him. He would cost me £2,300 a day. On most of the days that I went to court, she'd only turn up 1 in 3. She'd always have an excuse. She played the game. She know how to do it.
Yeah.
So at some point, you get to that. Oh, I'm turning up in court. My barrister's turning up in court, but man, the barrister's now got to go home. So, all right, I only have to pay him half a day's wages for today. So it only cost me £1,200 a day's wages for today,
Yeah.
You have to accept that for the 7 months until you get the court order. And like your only friend in that whole process, not even the judge, because when them allegations come, the judge have to make that same order, whether it's, I don't know, whether it's police records or whether it's a drugs test, or all of that stuff takes time, no matter what the allegations was. And that's the time that she needs to obviously get to that point where you've not seen your children for 7 months. Now you need to go to a contact centre. No judge is going to tell you just take your children and that's going to be fine, So my kids actually needed to go to a contact centre, and we was in a contact centre for about 5 or 6 months because my kids were so young.
Yeah.
My daughter would come to the door and she'd just stand there, look at me for 2 hours. She knew who I was, but it was all weird for her. She hadn't seen me for 7 months. My son, who was baby, 6 months old, 7 months old, something like that, he didn't know who I was. So, there was that period where, by my own admission, I needed to be in a contact centre. But that was it. But my contact, the only people that become your friend through that whole process is CAFCAS. If CAFCAS get introduced to your case, they're there to represent the children, and they're the only ones that will make that assessment where they're never going to agree that the children shouldn't see their father. I mean, they'll come, they'll do all the assessments, they look into the police, they look into the drugs or whatever it is, they order all of that. The only problem is with CAFCAS, they take time. You don't need none of that. If you know the situation, and with what we have in Google now, you can do that whole process yourself, cut out CAFCAS, and maybe if CAFCAS are ordered at some point, I mean, they're your friends. They're the only people in the situation you should trust.
Yeah,
Lawyers,
I had a slightly different experience with CAFCAS.
really?
Mine wasn't, in my opinion, so positive.
Right, okay.
But it was a court-ordered CAFCAS because lack of communication and no direct contact between myself and my daughter's mum. So again, because of allegations, I think the challenge for me, and I don't know whether you had this, Chris, was you've said your legal bills were incredibly expensive. Yep. I can absolutely relate to that. When a solicitor's charging £400 an hour, plus that, the difficulty for me was the fact that because allegations had been made, legal aid was granted to my partner. So none of that cost anything for my daughter's mum. So it didn't matter to her whether it was prolonged, whether we had to have another hearing, because it didn't cost a penny more.
Well, unlucky for me, when my other half relocated to the South Coast, she decided to become a solicitor. So the firm that she was working for was doing all of the work for her on a basis where she didn't have to pay for it. So she didn't even get legal aid because, I mean, I don't know, like at some point there needs to be I don't understand the legal aid thing. From what I understand, everyone that's applied for it never got it.
Right. Legal aid is something that actually, dependent on how you play the system, is very easy to get. And even if it's then proven that you weren't any sort of victim, the legal aid certificate still stands.
But it must
forever.
say somewhere in there that the single white male citizen don't get it. Because
yeah, absolutely.
I've never met a single dad that come to me either that said, like, I get legal aid.
No, neither have I. Neither have I. And 100%. And I was advised by my solicitor that no, you wouldn't get it because you've not done this, that, and the other. And I suspect, and I have to be very careful how I word this, but I suspect my daughter's mum was also told that, and then seemingly moved solicitors and got legal aid, having ticked a few more boxes in the interim period.
Unfortunately, the solicitor, I mean, they look. I know this because I've known solicitors, but they look at your case to start with like it's going to last a year. Then, very quickly, within 2 or 3 months, they can assess whether that's a 1, 3, or 5 year case. They can do that very quickly, and they know that if there's certain allegations pop up, like for example, drugs and police. If that's all going through the solicitors and CAFCAS, that just takes 3 or 4 years to dig up, like, and sort out and go backwards and forwards to court. And then obviously it snowed that day. I couldn't get a babysitter. Usually I was getting 1 visit out of 3 successful in court, like we was all turning up by, So at some point, like, all of that is every time that a court is fouled, it's another 4 months before you get a date to get back in. So you can consider the solicitor is thinking 5 years she wants you on the case. You wanted 35, 40 grand per client, that fills their books. The barristers are the same. I was using Mackenzie Friends at the time because this was back in 2009, mostly before internet was so common in people's lives, So back then there was Mackenzie Friends, and usually they was people who were strapping themselves to Parliament dressed as Spider-Man, or people who'd been through the experience themselves. And one of the guys that I used to see, he did everything for beer. So this was his deal. He'd meet me on a Tuesday or a Thursday, and we'd meet in the pub, and I bought the drinks all night. And when I left, I always give him like 20 or 30 quid as well. So that was the situation. He got 50 quid's worth of beer at me. But he was worth much more to me than a solicitor. He gave me the point of view he was the one that wised me up as well to how cheeky the solicitors was, and what, I had to keep my solicitor in line about how she just want to make this argument now last 3 letters. So she brought up this one incident. That's got to go backwards and forwards 3 times to create at least £1,000 worth of revenue for her, and that would be okay if I got a result quick, but it doesn't. 3 letters backwards and forwards is actually 3-4 months, So at some point for me, it's not working fast enough. I've actually done this now for 3 people. I'm doing my 3rd one now for a friend of mine in the south, where they go through this situation, and I don't like to do it, but sometimes someone close to you goes through it. And I just want to save them 3 years, and I just want to save them 30 or 40,000. And one of my friends at the minute is going through he's due his final court case, and it's probably 16, 17 months. And now his ex-partner's playing a game where she don't turn up on 2 visits, but he's got his next court case ordered that if she doesn't turn up, they'll make a judgment in her absence. And that's just by applying to the courts yourself. And I'll give him all the points. Like there was allegations there. So before you go back to court, don't wait for CAFCAS to be involved and order a drugs test. Do a drugs test. Go to an independent place, pay the £700, turn up to the court with it to say, that them allegations are there, so you've just gone and done this drug test to show that there's no issue. He had to produce, there was some serious allegations where he had to produce some police evidence, So I said, apply for it yourself. It takes 3 to 4 weeks, just apply for it, bring it to court with you, put it on the table. If CAFCAS are ordered, give it to them, make sure it's there for the courts in your disclosure. So you're not waiting for the court to come and say, oh yeah, we need to order this. I need to see the results of this. Just make sure you've got it there ahead of it. And on this last visit now, I've actually primed him and said to him, go straight to the contact centres in the area of where your kids are living, find out how many there are, contact them all, ask them if you can book yourself in, what the lead times are to get in. And I said, when you turn up to the court, you want it all there, the contact centre, the date that they let you in, and so there's nothing to be ordered, all
so
of
you're
that.
Prepared.
It's crucial time, No, there's no one to tell you that. No, but a Mackenzie Friend you don't really need either anymore. You've got Google, and Google can tell you how to make a court application. You know, if you're looking for contact centres, you can do the work that Kafkas can do. They're just going to go back and sit in their office and Google.
Yeah.
Well, you know, they've got a list actually that they have to use, which is a lot less than the actual contact centres out there, you know. So they're probably using 10 recommended people, but you've got the option of using 60 or 70, like, you know. So at some point, you doing the work yourself, you put in more hours for it, but you'd spend them hours sitting with a solicitor anyway, telling her what to say. For me, save yourself the money and do a better job. You don't know that the first time you go through this,
Yeah,
though,
no, you
especially,
don't.
you know, like especially 2009, the internet wasn't such a thing, and you know, you're following what you know best. You know, you go through this, you need to see a solicitor. That's the last thing you need
And
to do.
I think when parents are going through separation like that, certainly a challenging separation, they've not gone through it before. Everybody's new to it, so they don't know what to do. And most people are right. You know, I need to find a solicitor. I need to do this. I need to do that. And often there's a knee jerk, and they don't always follow process as well. And the process is relatively simple. Even if you are getting to an endpoint where you are going to use a solicitor, you still have to follow a process. The court still expect that you followed a process. And it's not as scary as it sounds.
So, you know, like the courts changed actually from when I was in them, but recently I found out through my friend going through it that when you make the first court application, they won't even acknowledge it until you've showed evidence that you tried mediation.
Mediation. So you have to have a C100 form.
So
Yeah,
in this case, my friend had a successful application where he had 3 appointments. He liaised the situation. The mum didn't turn up, so he was able to go to the court with the application to say, look, he tried his best to make mediation, and it didn't go nowhere. So at that point, that's the court having to get involved. That process probably just took. He went to the court the first time because it wasn't a physical visit; it was a video call or something like that. And then I think he was in a court within 3 or 4 months.
Yeah.
But I mean, everyone's different. Everyone's situation is different. He was in a situation like me. He didn't see his kids for 9 months. He left it later. I started my process straight away, but he had that. He always had a promise. He was always going to see them. He was never in. He went through that for like 6 or 7 months, and that's probably just as bad as what I went through even.
Yeah. So you got to the end of your court case after a long,
So I mean, the end of the court. I mean, even
tiring court case.
Even when I had contact, the court cases were still going on. So I was in a contact centre for probably. I think I was in the contact centre for 7 or 8 months before I could take them out of the contact centre.
Yeah.
So even when I had contact away from the contact centre, I still had to go to the contact centre to meet, to pick the children up. My contact was still only the contact times because I hadn't been to a court since then, which was 2 hours every 2 weeks, something like that, which I was grateful for because it was better than nothing.
Yeah.
And you have to behave, you know, like you have to do everything those ladies in the contact centre says. They're great people in contact centres, you know. The only problem is, like, I mean, I remember my first contact sitting there waiting for my children when they didn't turn up. I was actually sat there with my mum. So my mum came along to support me at that time. She was a very much part of the kids' lives. Me and my mum were sat there, and then a guy was brought in handcuffs, sat in a chair opposite us, and 2 policemen stood either side of him. He had his contact with his kids that day. I didn't.
Yeah.
It was the whole process is just terrible and dire. It's only when you get through the other side of that process and you've got the kids and you can take them away on a holiday and you can. I mean, the first thing that I started doing the minute that I can get the judge to allow it was the schools, because the schools was also blocking me. You know, they'd listened to some accusation. They kept me away. I had to keep going there and reminding the headmaster that I have equal parental responsibility, and now I have a court order to say that I have every right to be a part of my school's kids' schooling, like, you know. And he was in a position where he actually was going through a split up with his partner and understood. He was able to talk to me very frank about it, but he had to also give me some conditions like that I had to adhere to, because he just didn't want drama in the school, like, you know. They're there to teach the kids. They're there not to get involved in your situation, like. But for sure, I'm going to Parents' Day. I'm going to sports days. Like, I want to go to the swimming galas. I wanted to go to all of them. And with the distance that I had, and we're talking 2 children, I went to all of those. I didn't miss one. Didn't miss one contact. I wasn't late on one contact. remember going in the snow, like, and the journey taking 3 hours, like, but just made sure they had 4 or 5 hours, like, to do the journey, like.
Yeah.
So,
And I think that's what you do as a parent that's fighting to spend time and to I would say to have time with your children, but actually it's for your children to have time with you more than anything. It's the reverse. You're not doing it for your benefit as such. You're doing it for their benefit. Well, that's it for part 1 of Chris's interview, guest appearance, chat. Make sure you do join us for part 2 next week. And I think, though, we will have a very short bit here, but let's end on a little bit more of an upbeat note, because I know you love them so much. So come on, then.
Well,
let's hear your dad joke of this week.
It has been a pleasure to see Chris go so deep and also learn a little bit about him. Who knew you could do that much damage with a milk float? But as alluded to at the beginning, perhaps the prostate exam's on next week's episode, so tune in for that one. But the ill-fated dad joke of the week, and I've written it down, not like the other week when I forgot it halfway through and make myself look like runner-up in a thick twat contest. So there we are. Anyone who's wondering who came first has just answered their own question. Okay, did you hear about the stolen dog collar? You're a dog man. You ever had a dog collar stolen? Did you hear about the stolen dog collar?
I'm into dogging. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. we established that a few weeks ago.
No, I haven't.
You didn't hear about the stolen dog collar?
No. Tell me what happened to the stolen dog collar.
Police are looking for leads. Good night. Tune in next week where Chris goes even deeper, if you would believe. Anyway, my Chinese is getting cold. See everybody soon, and happy Easter. Happy Easter.
Have you told your wife about this Chinese?
Yeah, she's already eaten it, hasn't she?
Oh,
there we go. But
sorry, Chinese meal.
Meal, yeah.
Oh, I thought you'd ordered 69.
No. That was a good dad joke, I think, for April Fool's Day.
Oh,
Are we going out on April Fool's Day? The day after. We're going out on the 2nd.
No, I think yes, this is
April Fool's Day has been
April Fool's Day was
I'm a belated April
yesterday.
Fool, aren't I? For did you hear about the stolen dog collar?
I think we can skip the April bit with you.
It's not very nice, is it, listeners?
Oh dear.
Have a good week.
Before we descend
Happy
into
Easter.
chaos. Yes, everybody have a great Easter, and make sure you join us for part 2 next week. And remember, you can join us by following us on Spotify or wherever you listen. If you've been affected by anything in this show, or you want to just email us, chat about other things, tell us about your stories, your experience, your top tips, your dad jokes, anything at all, don't forget you can either leave us a comment or email us at podcast@parentingbusiness.com. And if you do like what you hear, or you can resonate with anything that you hear, or you think somebody else might like to listen and reach out a little bit, then don't forget to don't forget to share the podcast with other parents and business owners, and leave us a 5-star review, because it really helps us spread the support. And I think on that note, we will see you next Thursday.
Good night, God bless, and happy Easter.